These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny. There was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, lost control, and my drone started going down dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and, like a couple feet off the table, and then came right back.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
Certainly I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this.
We left off at the Department of Homeland Security and FBI briefing on December 10th, 2024.
What is going on in New Jersey?
Sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern.
From the FBI, what can you tell us about what you guys do know?
So the public reports and what we have from eyewitness sightings, some of those very credible police personnel and others are what we describe as unidentified drones. We do not know the particular specifics of what those drones are.
Their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water, followed right behind them.
We are not sure if they're drones or unmanned aircrafts, but they are flying over sensitive infrastructure and facilities. And the fact that we don't know what they are or who's behind them or what they're doing is very concerning to me.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
Here are some statements from politicians following this briefing.
Thoughts on how we should be handling that?
Well, you've always got to kind of strike the balance.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally believe that any drone that's in the skies should be able to be taken down if there's not some way to authenticate them.
We are concerned about drones and all these new technologies and what it might mean for national security and the safety of the American citizens.
Any thought these might be dark programs?
I hope not. I don't believe so. But there's a lot of investigation going on, so we'll find out.
I've been a little frustrated. There hasn't been enough transparency, letting people know what's happening. It's allowing a lot of potentially misinformation to spread, or at least fear. We should know what's going on over our skies, and I've asked for a lot more information.
Well, number one, I'm going to call it total bullshit that no one knows what these are. And I think it's a slap in the face to the American people to say they don't know what this is. They can track down a guy that just killed a CEO, but they can't identify what nightly drones are and where they're coming from. I think that is absolutely disgusting.
I spent my entire professional career as an F-22 pilot doing the business of air-to-air combat, protecting the sovereignty of the United States airspace. And that's why we held this hearing yesterday. And the main question is, why haven't they done anything about it?
The answers that you're not getting in public are the same answers that we're not getting in private. It's just one more example of how the Biden administration doesn't impose accountability, doesn't point to a single official or agency.
You can't tell me that we don't know what that is. I just think they're not being honest with us. I think that if we don't know, if our government really has no idea, then they're even more incompetent than I thought. We've got to get to the bottom of this, and they need to level with the American people about what's going on. It's crazy.
December 11th was the first day the White House put out an official statement.
There have been repeated drone sightings in the Northeast, especially in New Jersey. These are not small drones, some of them pretty large. They're flying at low altitudes, they're flying in flocks. Has the president been briefed on this situation?
So we are certainly aware, the president is aware. So we're closely tracking the activity and coordinating closely with relevant agency, including DHS and FBI, to continue to investigate these incidents. Don't have anything beyond that to share. Obviously, this is something that DHS and FBI are tracking very, very closely, and so I would have to refer you to them directly, but aware. Keeping an eye out and looking into the incidents that you just mentioned.
Couple still though, but has the federal government ruled out that these are controlled by foreign entities?
Yeah.
And do you know if they're conducting surveillance over these areas?
I cannot make any kind of predictions or comments about that specifically from here. This is something that DHS is looking at and FBI, so I would have to refer you to them. I don't have anything beyond that. We're tracking this very closely. Obviously, we're all aware of the incidents that have been reported. I'm not going to go into what they could be or could not be from here. That is something that obviously is being looked at as those respective agencies that I mentioned.
When was the president briefed on this?
I don't have a timeline, but he certainly has been made aware of this.
And the New Jersey governor said, it's frustrating that there aren't answers about where these are coming from, that people are very concerned about this. What's the White House message to the people up there who are frustrated that there isn't any information right now?
And obviously, we hear them and we understand that. We are closely tracking this. We are monitoring the incidents that have been put forward and certainly made public. And we have two agencies that I've already mentioned that are looking into this, working closely with folks on the ground, trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't have anything more to share beyond that.
On December 11th, there was also a statewide briefing on the mystery drones from the FBI and New Jersey State Police on the drones. Here are some of the statements from New Jersey politicians who attended this briefing.
All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything, okay? It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat.
All right, so Tony, you were in this meeting. How'd it go?
To say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. The lead investigators, everyone that has contacted our offices, mayors across the state, have been told to contact the FBI, and yet the FBI was not in this briefing.
And they were supposed to be?
Yes, we were all told on Monday night when we received the invitation for this briefing that the FBI, state police, and Homeland Security was going to be present. They called it an oversight. I'm not sure how you look over the lead investigators for this.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
That the state police and the Department of Homeland Security know very little than what has already been reported, but they do state that there's 180 drones that have been confirmed over New Jersey since November 18th. The fact that these drones have a battery life that they're projecting at 6 to 8 hours, which is unbelievable. We're not talking about these drones, that you buy on Amazon. And we're talking about commercial military-grade drones that are flying over our military installations, over our infrastructure, our electrical grid, our water reservoirs.
The detection equipment is up, but not detecting. These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected. Here's some unknowns. And again, they were very transparent today. So some of the unknowns, the state police says, unknowns. We have no idea where they're taking off from. No idea. We have no idea where they're landing. No idea at all. We have no idea who's behind them because, as I mentioned, they are not state and we are told it is not federal. We have no idea the drone types, as I mentioned before. We do know that they are flying, as I've repeatedly said, they are flying over critical infrastructure like reservoirs, Picatinny Arsenal, Trump Bedminster, and our nuclear power plants.
If you're the bad guys, you want to know what's going on in Picatinny. They went into Picatinny's airspace. That's a violation of the law. It has to be. I don't have the chapter and verse of the U.S. Code, but if I did that, and they came back and tracked that I put a drone over, or our average person, somebody put a drone over, we'd be in big federal trouble. I don't know.
Drones that we're getting, my police chief is telling me we could get 24 phone calls a night of people in Washington Township that are just seeing 6, 8, 10 drones flying above their house. And like you said, what are they doing? I mean, we all see what drones are capable of doing in a war scenario. And it really is difficult to be mutually exclusive that we are told over and over by the governor, there's no safety issue, but we don't know who's driving them, we don't know where they're going, and we can't find out where they're taking off and landing from. It's a very difficult situation for us to try to understand.
It's the same thing. They double down on their narrative that there's no threat, but then they can't explain why. To the contrary, what they go through is a litany of things that they claim that they don't know. They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They know that they vary in size from, they also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to. All of those seem like interesting or odd.
And we now are bringing a detection system in. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You had an expert on who said, well, it's the typical drone activity. Well, let me tell you, the state police in New Jersey followed a drone the size of an SUV. The drone, this comes from the colonel in the state police. The drone turned off its lights and fled. Well, let me tell you, the Department of Defense needs to answer that question. Hey, I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but I can tell you this is not normal activity.
Mystery drone sightings continued across the country.
Now similar sightings are being reported here in San Diego and across Southern California.
I reached out to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed the drones were not law enforcement.
These pictures show drones over Boston Harbor near Long Island.
There have now been so many reports, including sightings right in Connecticut neighborhoods.
For weeks, people in New Jersey, Virginia, Maryland, and now California say they've spotted large drones or other unidentified flying objects.
Virginia getting hundreds of reports of mysterious drone sightings across the Commonwealth.
Spoke with one man who spotted one near his home in Clinton, just south of Ann Arbor.
Mysterious drone sightings seen on the East Coast are now being spotted here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically in Tacoma.
This new video from KTLA viewer Sharon shows what appears to be a drone over the San Fernando Gardens community.
As for what Chrissy and her mother Deborah keep seeing here in Minnesota,
dozens of people across Massachusetts and New Hampshire are catching unconfirmed sightings on camera, similar to the drones that have been seen flying around New Jersey. Lindsay Muto says a dozen drones were hovering around her home in Harwich, so she called the police.
It's very concerning and unnerving and unsettling.
There was a bunch of them coming in from all sorts of directions.
When we were out here, probably saw like 8 to 10 of them, I think, in just a span of like maybe.
No.
Right now, just the unknown is driving us crazy.
and making us mad.
Here's one video here where you can kind of see one or two orbs kind of hovering, floating around. At times they move, eventually disappear. What are they? No one knows.
But the bright orange light spotted above the Eugene area was clearly different.
The biggest thing that stood out is it was changing directions. Usually things don't change directions.
Audio recordings captured his conversation with air traffic controllers.
Red in color, moving at extreme speeds. I don't even know how to describe how fast he's moving.
You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there.
At least 4 commercial pilots spotted the same mysterious bright lights above Oregon this weekend.
Various New Jersey politicians had mystery drone sightings of their own.
I had an experience in New Jersey where I saw this thing last Friday night. So it's about the size of this table, a small pickup truck or an SUV. It had 4 arms and there were lights under each arm. I looked at it, it stopped, gone.
No, I can promise you that what I saw was not an actual aircraft. It hovered almost directly above me. It's hard to judge the size of it because it was at least 12 to 1,500 square feet almost directly above me. And it was hovering. It wasn't going left, right. It wasn't an airplane that has that type of capability to just hover and stay where it was, Neil.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who previously ran for president, also witnessed a mystery drone above his house.
Over my house at 6:15 in the morning. Saw them myself, so did my wife. And so, yeah, they're there. And I've been traveling around New Jersey as I normally do all week. And I can't tell you the number of people who've come up to me concerned about it.
Amidst the lack of answers, multiple theories began arising as to what was behind the drone sightings. One theory was that the mystery drones were U.S. tech searching for a missing nuke.
They're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Well, potentially, we're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and was empty. So
okay,
potentially
wait,
we're looking
stop
for
right
that.
there, Mayor, because that's very important information. And that came from a credible source.
That came from the U.S. government.
And so it's missing?
Missing.
And they think it's in New Jersey or it could be anywhere?
It was lost in New Jersey, in transit. And again, this is just an example of what I think that we're sniffing for. I think we do have the assets that can go up and
maybe someone like Department of Energy is borrowing these drones from another government agency because, you know, maybe hypothetically, maybe there's a threat. Maybe some rogue nation was able to put something really bad here, some sort of WMD here in the continental United States. And maybe, you know, we don't want to scare the public. Maybe you don't want to panic the public. And so what do? We put out these drones with sniffers.
The scariest one that I've heard is that the drones are looking for gamma radiation because there's a missing nuke.
My personal feelings, there's so many, they're so complex. The electronics and things behind it is so intricate that it's got to be government related.
Another theory circulating was that China was behind the mystery drones.
We know, Andrea, that Iran, that China, that Russia have extremely sophisticated drone capabilities. We've seen drones used as a weapon of war in Ukraine, and so
it certainly is communist China for many of these drones, maybe even a majority of them. You know, the increased tempo of these drone flights against our military bases is occurring at the same time as there's increased frequency of incursions and attempted incursions of these bases by Chinese and other.
On December 11th, another theory was put forward by Congressman Jeff Van Drew, blaming Iran.
Very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources. I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from...
This Iranian mothership theory I find interesting. Why would this congressman think this? At this time, Congresswoman Anna Luna seemingly endorsed it as well.
Look, it's unacceptable, and for them to undermine Representative Van Drew's credibility in saying that he's talking to people that he does believe that these are drones from other nefarious foreign actors. I mean, it just goes to show.
The Pentagon was quick to defuse the Iranian mothership theory and said this on December 11th.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Interestingly, the Pentagon said the drones were not a foreign adversary and not the U.S. military. On December 12th, the White House spokesperson John Kirby downplayed the sightings.
Now, finally, I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace.
John Kirby was pressed on this matter by some reporters present.
John, on the drones, does the U.S. government have any of its own imagery or video of these systems?
I'm not aware that we have U.S. government produced imagery ourselves, but as I said in my opening statement, we have certainly done thorough analysis of the existing imagery.
Like from people's cell phones that we're seeing? Basically, with what you're looking at, how can you credibly tell people that there is no public safety threat, there's no national security threat, that there's no reason to believe that a foreign government is involved?
Because the analysis thus far, in an investigation that is ongoing, has not revealed any national security or malicious intent or criminal activity. But, Jackie, I would remind you, we're at the beginning here, not the end. There's a lot more work to be done, and we're working closely with state and local authorities to gain more information. I would argue that we're moving pretty well here with a sense of energy to try to figure out what we can do to learn more about this. We're still in the middle of an ongoing investigation, and I'm up here explaining to you and letting you know what we know so far, what we believe so far. If information comes to light that changes that characterization, then my goodness, we'll be the first ones to let you know. But right now, there's just no indication that this is some sort of foreign malign activity or, in fact, even criminal.
Well, what I don't understand is, this has been happening since late November. I don't know that the law enforcement officials or residents in New York and New Jersey, or even the Democratic senators who wrote to Director Ray Mayorkas and the FAA administrator today would think that this has been handled with a sense of urgency. But that being said, has the President or the Secretary of Defense issued any guidance to NORTHCOM or military installations to act on these systems if they're deemed to be a threat in any way? And what's the benchmark for that determination?
So two thoughts. First of all, you're right, late November. It is now, what, the 12th of December. I think it shows that we're moving on with this and we're going to stay on it. So I want to disabuse you of any notion that we're not taking this seriously, because we are. I can also tell you that if the president, as commander-in-chief, believed, based on the information that he'd been given, that there was a national security threat at play here, or even a public safety threat at play here, he would issue the appropriate directives to not only law enforcement, but perhaps even the military if that was needed. I want to go back to something I said at the top. There has been no evidence of any of this activity in or near restricted spaces.
That's not what the senators said in the letter. They said, in fact, that they've been observed maneuvering near critical infrastructure, sensitive locations, including reservoirs and military installations, and cited a concern from law enforcement about public safety threats because a medevac helicopter was prevented from transporting a seriously injured patient for care because of the presence of these drones.
I stand by my opening statement.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
Certainly I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, my goodness, looking at this. And we're taking it seriously. We understand that people are concerned. We understand that they got questions. We got questions too. And we're working hard to get the answers to that. What I can tell you as we sit here today, at 2:16 in the afternoon on the 12th, is we haven't seen any indication thus far that there's a public safety risk, and we haven't seen.
The government know what they are.
We are still investigating this. I can't tell you definitively. I cannot characterize for you definitively what these sightings are. I can just go back to what I said at the opening. We've looked at the imagery. We can't corroborate some of the reported sightings through our own expert analysis using sophisticated detection techniques, but that doesn't mean that, we're putting our pen down here this afternoon and calling it a day. We're going to keep at this.
What are you doing, though?
We are continuing to investigate it, as I said in my opening statement, 2 federal agencies, as well as the United States Coast Guard, and state and local law enforcement officials, which we are staying in close touch with.
John.
The downplaying of the mystery drones was also projected by the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
We have not seen any unusual activity. We know of no threat. We know of no nefarious activity. I want to repeat that. We have not seen anything unusual. We know of no threat or of any nefarious activity. And let me explain. People are reporting sightings of drones. It is very common for individuals who think they see drones to actually see small aircraft, and we have a case of mistaken identity. Also, we have 6 different people reporting what they think is a drone, and all of a sudden we have reports of 6 drone sightings. So there's some duplication. I have been in touch with Governor Murphy every day. Our experts have been in touch with the New Jersey State Police every day. What we have done is we have deployed our state-of-the-art technology. We've deployed our experts to New Jersey. That technology has not confirmed any drone sightings. In addition, it has confirmed that some reported drone sightings are in fact small aircraft. Pilots have not reported seeing drones. That's not to say that there aren't drones, flying in the air, but we have no concern at this point with respect to a threat or any nefarious activity. The reality is you can have a 15-year-old kid who buys a drone off the shelf and puts it up in the sky. We have not seen drones turn their lights off in the dark. We have not seen drones penetrate restricted airspace. Those are 2 indicia that would give us a cause for concern. Wolf, I want to let the American people know right now that if we learn of any cause for concern, I will be back in this seat and explain to the American public why.
Only within the past few minutes, and I don't even know if you know this, Mr. Secretary,
This downplaying of the drones as hysteria by the White House evoked a strong response from local New Jersey politicians who said the White House was getting it wrong.
Operated lawfully. All right, Mayor, do you believe him?
So what that means, he's saying that we're all seeing small planes, right? That's my take on that.
Yes.
I have to tell you that's incredulous. I'm incredulous about that. That is ridiculous. I would invite Mr. Kirby to Mine Hill. Come on out, Mr. Kirby, and let's go on out one night about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
But is this a mass hysteria of some sort?
Well, here's why, George. Because of answers like the secretary just gave. They're not answering the questions.
Well, he said they're monitoring it. They haven't seen any unusual activity, and they need more authority.
Let me tell you something. I agree that they need more authority, but to not say that this is not unusual activity, it's just wrong. I lived in New Jersey my whole life. This is the first time that I've noticed drones over my house, and I was in a restaurant in Monmouth County on Friday night. Had people at the bar coming up to me and saying, "Governor Murphy won't tell me anything. The president won't tell me anything. Do you know?"
I'll certainly invite the National Security Advisor to come to New Jersey, visit us, and listen to some law enforcement and his own naval personnel at Naval Weapons Station Earl here in my county, and speak with them, because these are trained eye professionals. We get that some people may be calling in manned aircraft, but at the same token, you can't have members of the state police, county and local law enforcement, trained personnel from the Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl, 2 military installations here in New Jersey, calling it what it is, right? The highly sophisticated, very large objects that avoid detection, have their lights turned on and off, move at
the
rapid
federal
speed.
agencies' stories seem to change. First, they were trying to convince us that these were just small manned aircrafts, and that we were misidentifying them as drones. Then they tried to convince us, well, yes, now they're commercial drones and recreational drones. And now they're even trying to tell us that these are stars in some cases that we're seeing and we're misidentifying for drones. It is ridiculous that the American people, and particularly members of Congress,
and if they're not ours, then they owe us action. There are obligations to protect and preserve the common defense. So I still think there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered and a lot of things that need to be done. But I don't know that Admiral Kirby did much to help the cause a few minutes ago.
Well, and something that you mentioned there, the fact there are so many unanswered questions.
Those folks have a right to know what's actually in the air. And so I think Congress has got to do a better job of regulating drones, and more importantly, the government has to do a better job of getting more information out to people. People deserve answers, and we've got to ask those questions.
What is happening is outrageous. Thousands of drones and unmanned aerial systems flying above us, and our government is not telling us who's operating them and for what purpose. I don't believe that the United States of America, with its military capabilities, does not know what these objects are. And what I'm asking, and what we're all asking, is for you to be straight with us and just tell us what is going on.
Amidst the drone incursions, Senator Chuck Schumer proposed new drone detection legislation and systems, and this prompted debate about civil liberties in Congress.
Our bill, among other things, explicitly authorizes state and local authorities to conduct drone detection and helps them better coordinate with federal law enforcement agencies to keep communities safe. The people in New York and New Jersey have a lot of questions, and they're not getting good enough answers. The utter confusion surrounding these drone sightings shows that the feds can't respond all on their own. They need help detecting these drones from local officials who have neither the resources nor the explicit authority to act, and the bill fixes that. We all know drones are a relatively new phenomena, and there are millions of them all over the United States. A lot of them are hobbyists, some of them are companies doing legitimate.
The right to object. No one disputes that drones flying in airspace could be a danger. The drones flying over the Super Bowl could be a danger. The drones flying over our military bases could be a danger. That's why it's illegal. It's currently illegal, and the federal government has the capacity to investigate and stop drones that are in airspace over our military bases following our ships. We have that capacity. But what is disputed, and what the Biden administration is currently telling us, is they don't see a problem. So if there is a problem, let the Biden administration be forthcoming. Let us know the extent of the problem. Let us know who's flying the drones, and let us know what's going on. Instead, this bill says, well, we don't know. The Biden administration doesn't know, but why don't we give the power to the local officials to go after drones? But I rise today to object to this unanimous consent request because at the time, public trust in government is in historic lows. This body must not rush to grant sweeping surveillance powers without proper...
People are flying drones.
Got it. Sir, as the author of the UAP amendment in the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, you, among anybody, should be calling these what they are. We don't know they're drones, correct? They are UAPs. Why? Why aren't they being called UAPs?
Because we don't know if there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. That's what we're trying to find out.
Identified, of course.
Nobody knows what they are. We have to find out.
Senator,
yes.
are these U.S. military drones?
We don't believe we do not believe they are U.S. military drones, or the military would have told us that.
Why haven't precautions been taken sooner? Why now? Why haven't precautions?
Well, all of a sudden, they're in the skies all over the place, and so we got to find answers, and then the legislation will provide much more authority as to where and when drones can fly. Right now, there is no authority to that, because there are so many hobbyists and everybody else who...
Mystery drones continue to be reported around the country and over military installations. Sensitive sites these drones were reported were Camp Pendleton, California, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Utah Hill Air Force Base, and even sites in Germany.
Drone sightings force a local airport to shut down, the mounting frustration over the mystery in the sky.
It's smooth sailing at New York Stewart International Airport Saturday night, unlike the nearly hour-long delay the evening prior.
But one of the latest sightings in White Settlement now has federal attention.
We're a military community. We will have unauthorized drones. Typically, though, it's usually somebody that's just unaware, and then we educate them. Last night, though, very different.
White Settlement Police Chief Chris Cook says they received several reports Tuesday night for groups of unauthorized drones in flight. Cell phone video for officers showed the drones hovering about 100 to 200 feet from the ground.
Say these unauthorized drones are a safety threat, especially with the Navy Air Station Joint Reserve Base and other government facilities nearby here, making this entire town and surrounding areas all no-fly.
Mark Heidi, both Hill Air Force Base and Camp Williams here tell me that they are investigating sightings. Right now, we are right near the Salt Lake International Airport. It is a restricted area for drones, along with those bases. Today, though, I spoke with two different pilots, both who find the reports of these sightings especially concerning. Late this afternoon, Hill Air Force Base confirmed that unmanned aerial systems were spotted in the vicinity of the base. These sightings, they said, have not impacted operations and all...
Tonight, Camp Pendleton is acknowledging recent drone activity near the base as concern continues growing over mysterious similar sightings in New Jersey and other parts of the country. Officials at the base tell us the drones do not belong to them.
Unidentified drones have been sighted over sensitive industrial locations and the U.S. airbase at Ramstein in Germany in recent weeks. This as per the Spiegel News magazine report. The magazine has cited a confidential report by the German security authorities.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base airspace was closed for about 4 hours Friday night into Saturday morning after small unidentified drones were spotted near the base. Alexis Martin is at the alert desk.
Here are some videos of drones filmed above Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, released via a FOIA request from John Greenwald.
Control, Guardian 12, you can show a possible over Hope Hotel.
Over to the west rim, and then one went from Charlie Land back.
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security Forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Oh
no. You know where we are?
I can't really.
I can't tell.
Yeah, I can't really tell. I'm thinking I saw one similar to that on 235 just now. So.
It is also worth noting that mystery drones were reported in Colorado, and that same week, there was an anomalous disappearance of cattle from a Colorado ranch.
And many of you have emailed us with pictures and videos showing sightings here in Colorado.
That's right, Fox 31's Ashley Michaels.
Flying very low, and it would kind of like stop, and then it would go, and it would go very...
Baffled by the sudden disappearance of 180 cows. We first told you about this yesterday.
Yeah, very strange. So the cows were last seen right here on that plateau, stretching across Montrose, Delta, San Miguel counties. But the Montrose County Sheriff's Office says there's too much snow where the cattle went missing to investigate on the ground. The ranchers have reported that they've flown over top and found no trace. But the lack of evidence leaves deputies thinking that there could be foul play. Ranchers say they wouldn't be surprised either.
The reason that we are leaning towards that they were stolen was the lack of the ranchers finding any carcasses or anything like that.
You know, wrestling isn't a thing of the past. They're worth a lot of money. You know, a finished beef can be worth $3,000 at the sale barn. You can't watch them all the time.
Altogether, the cattle are worth at least $300,000.
On December 17th, the FBI, CIA, and DHS held a classified briefing on the mystery drones.
I'm getting a classified briefing along with my fellow Republicans and Democrats as to the nature of these drones. And so we need as much information as possible.
Today's briefing is planned for 2 p.m. Eastern Time and will include testimony by the FBI and the CIA.
Here are some of the replies from lawmakers in attendance.
We've received only minimal information, which leads me to believe that our federal government has no idea, no clue, no reliable information about these drones.
We need to identify who is behind these drones. My judgment, based on my experience, is that those that are over our military sites are adversarial.
They're not federal government operations to sniff radiation, gas, recovery, anything else. Number two, they remain committed to their message that there is zero evidence of laws being broken by any of these drones. And the context here was the fact I asked probably in 12 different ways, is any of this federal government operations? You know, there's a lot of rumor out there that this is radiation sniffing or chemical sniffing. This is not a federal government operation. We're very, very confident of that. Most of them turn out to be regular aircraft. Yes, some drones, recreational, commercial. People are seeing stars, you know.
Officials saying that we don't know who's doing it, but there's nothing to be concerned about.
Right.
Both those things can't be true at the same time, and that's what they're saying. And you know, that's just inappropriate. So, who is operating them? For what purpose? Have you located the individuals? You know, are they operating within any kind of guidelines? Jody, there are a lot of reports, and some come from the state police, from county sheriffs. I mean, you know.
I'm very concerned that the FAA and the DOJ and Homeland Security aren't doing enough to assess whose drones these are and whether they are adversarial in any way. I think when they say something like, well, we have no evidence that they're foreign operated or adversarial or problematic, they don't have any evidence that it's not.
Right.
So I understand they want people to not be afraid, but they should be as concerned as I am because of these incursions over our bases and sensitive military sites.
My concern is if it's not craft from outer space, because I think that has to be on the table. That has to be an option. Is it our technology, or is it Russia or Iran or China? Is there someone who's winning the arms race, and are we behind?
They will not level us with us. They won't answer questions in public. There's something really strange that's going on.
So, Senator, what I think you're saying is that Rosie could be right. They could be aliens.
Anything is possible, but I tell you what worries me is the fact that these are over our military installations.
On December 16th, 2024, incoming President Donald Trump said the following of the mystery drones.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should.
And on December 17th, 2024, President Joe Biden made his first statements on the mystery drones.
Drones over New Jersey. What's behind all of that?
Nothing nefarious, apparently, but they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody's wanting to get in the deal. But we're following it closely. So far, no sense of the danger.